Hello, in this video I'm going to demonstrate an activity called the card sort activity, which I use regularly in my classes, both at Key Stage 3 and Key Stage 4 in England and through the MYP and DP at Tamagawa. It's an interactive activity that puts the learning over to the students and allows them to play around with ideas and work off the ideas of other people. The activity is quite simple and easy to do, and it's quite versatile. It could be at the start of a new topic, or it could be a revision activity where you're looking back at previous work studied before an exam, for example. So recently I've been teaching politics in grade 10, and we've been looking at different ways which we can protest, with the aim to move on to joining a political party or a pressure group. So you can start the lesson by getting a list of ideas on different ways to make a protest. Now, as a teacher, you could have asked students to think of some for homework the lesson before, or you could get them to do a think, pair, share, or you as a teacher can give the ideas. You as a teacher giving the ideas does help with weaker students, and it also stops students in class from having to sit there and spend the majority of the time thinking of ideas instead of actually analysing and playing around with the pros and cons of them. So here I've got for the class a variety of ways in which they can protest. And in a card sort activity, what I'd like them to do is rank the ideas. And for this activity, if you come and have a look here, what I do is I can either make students work on their own, in pairs or in small groups. So before the lesson, I cut up the paper, and I ask them to play around with these ideas, looking at what they believe is the best way to protest. Now, just for example, they might choose, write to the council first, demonstration, write to a newspaper. I could get them to do it in a linear fashion like this, or I could say to the students, you have the opportunity, if you believe that you've got two there that you can't separate, then that could be 1, 2, 2, and then you could go down and the students could do it as you like. And depending on your follow-up activity, you will decide how you want that done. So once the students have had their talk in their pairs, there are many things that can be done. One way I like to do is ask the students, let's say, for this example, I could ask them to take the top and the bottom in their list. So let's say student A, group A, which is a pair, have come up with writing to the council is the best way to protest, and the worst way they believe is to do a petition. So what has happened for them to get to that decision is both students have had their say, okay? And they haven't had to worry about thinking of ideas. The teacher or the class have given them the ideas, and what they can do now is play around. Now it could be a recap of the pros and cons. They could, be focusing on, petition with the style of the question, and the petition doesn't, for example, show you how many people that refuse to answer. So what I could do are many things. I could, first of all, get each group here. Another example here is, let's say another group have gone for demonstration and boycott. And instead of, the obvious thing to do is I could ask each group to come and justify why is right to the council the best. But to get students thinking and to prepare them in humanities type subjects where they might have to argue from the viewpoint of someone else, is what I could do is now, I'd say, group A, you're not going to discuss this. What I'm going to do is switch you around. So group A, you're now going to have to play with the thoughts of someone else, and you're going to actually have to justify why demonstration is the best and not write to the council. That's one way of getting students to interact with the ideas of others and respond to the ideas of others. A similar, different way of doing that would be going back to my original table here. Is what I could do. I could ask, each group, if we've got too many, they've rejected these, and I could say, okay, here are your top 5, like that, and I could then ask pairs to go and see another pair. So I've got a new pair in here, and a new pair could give a different opinion, like that, and then the new pair could then number what they believe is the right order, okay, like that. And then I could ask one person from each pair to come together. So I've got one person from the original pair who believes demonstration is 1, one person from pair 2 who believes demonstration is 2, and they could then discuss why things have been changed and try to persuade each other that their idea is the best way. Another way I can do is when I've asked students to rank in order, I could ask them, that could be the basis of an essay. It could also be the basis of a class speech, and what could happen then, if I'm going to do a class speech, I could ask each pair to get their number 1 demonstration, and they could stand there with demonstration, and I could choose people who've got a different number 1 to go into a new group, and they then got to argue which is the best out of what they perceive to be the best, i.e. the best of the best. I can do that, I can put pairs into 4s into 8s, and then half classes, and each time they're getting new number 1s. And what we could have at the end is one half of the class demonstration has won through the arguments, second half of the class, worryingly, letter bomb has won through the arguments, and then one person from each of the groups could come to stand at the front of the class, and it could be a class vote. In doing that, what's happened is every student, going back to the first time they got these, every student is involved in this process. It isn't just clever kids threw their hands up saying, well, I believe March is the best because it's going to get you on television, etc. It's actually all students having their say and learning that as they go through, whether it's analysing it on the board or doing the second one, that maybe their ideas are disagreed by others. And as long as it's done with reasons, then people can learn ideas which they can put in to their essay. As I said, that may well help for humanities, a theory of knowledge type-based assessment at a later date. So the idea then, the outcome, I believe, are the students being able to rank ideas and be able to respond to the views of others. Students are able in this to justify their ideas. Students get the opportunity to influence other students on their ideas. Students are exposed here to a wide variety of ideas. If all I said at the beginning of class, okay, write me an essay, what's the best way to protest? They may only have rights to a newspaper on their mind. Here at least they're being exposed to 12 different ideas. And also they get a choice, and it's also about playing with choices. If I want to go one step further for maybe the more able students in the class, I could ask a student, I don't want your opinion now, I want you to do the card sort there from the perspective of somebody who's been in a pressure group for 15 years, who maybe we're studying Friends of the Earth, Fathers for Justice. I want you to now answer from their point of view. Or I want you to answer from somebody who missed their aeroplane from Heathrow because there was a protest outside of Heathrow. Different people who've been affected in society from different ways really is kind of taking it up a notch, which really helps students play around with the ideas. So although there's a little bit of preparation at the beginning of the class, once you've tried it a few times and you try the different ideas, the class really is taken over by the students. It's just a matter for the teacher of ordering students in the pairs, into groups, and kind of managing what you want to do as a follow-up to their initial card sort, be it an essay, be it a speech, be it playing around with other people's ideas. Yeah, thank you for listening.